All right, guys, so this is the complete blueprint of how I personally leverage Google Ads and take the best data from Google and scale it immediately into Facebook, because Facebook is really good at mimicking whatever data you give it, and Google Ads is really good at giving you the best data. And so this is a way for you to cut costs dramatically if you are looking to test a product or scale a product and you're testing different audiences on Facebook. That can become very expensive. But Google can actually season your entire pixel and give you the absolute best traffic and 100% better chance of immediately being profitable day one. So this was a very elaborate video, and in the middle-ish of the video, I go kind of over my shoulder and I show you literally inside my campaign, and we go over day by day and how to structure it properly. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys, so in order for this strategy to work, we need a couple things. First, we need to have at least 100 conversions inside of our Google account, or really on this specific product we're advertising with Google. So this is a perfect example. This is a product that I crossed 100 conversions. It's very good. Now I'm actually gonna take this to Facebook, but more importantly, I have 100 conversions inside one country with one product. You really wanna try to get to that. Now, if you're not at 100 conversions, that's actually fine, because you have about 180 days to get those 100 conversions. And if you follow the strategies on the channel, you should be able to get there within the 180 days. And you'll see why there's kind of a little timeline on that. But you need the conversions to be in the same country. And then the next thing you need is the Facebook pixel on whatever platform you're using for your store. So most likely it's Shopify. Make sure you have the Facebook pixel and it tracked all of those conversions. That's super important. All right, now once you have all that, I can quickly go over the strategy. So if we actually go into keywords right here, so I'm gonna click on keywords, and then under search terms, we can scroll down and we can see all of the search terms that we are showing up for. Whether you've been trying Google Ads for a couple days, couple weeks, or you have actually 100 conversions, which is awesome, you should see actually inside your search terms that you're showing up for relevant terms, because this is very important, because we need to season our pixel with relevant traffic. Not just because we'll get a couple purchasers and we can do lookalikes, but because these are the right visitors that are in market for our product with the right age range, right demographic, and even the right income level. Facebook, that pixel literally scrapes everything about that user, and Google is giving us the best traffic to give us the perfect user. So when we go ahead and in a little bit, I'll show you what audiences we're gonna create. We then create those audiences, and then we can go ahead and make the best lookalikes from there. All right, guys, so there's only pretty much 3 main audiences you're gonna start with, and then the 4th one is literally you're gonna start with right after. So let me explain it. So the main 3 audiences that are gonna be your most profitable, most likely, is going to be your purchase in the last 180 days, add to cart in 30, and then top visitors by time spent. Guys, this one, top 25% visitors, is absolutely super important. Now, I will explain how to make these in a little bit, but the reason why now this visitor by time spent is extremely important is because you got your entire pixel seasoned by the best visitors that are literally looking for your product. Even if you are selling a desk, they literally typed in blah, 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 desk, and they're looking for your specific desk. So now when you do a lookalike off of this, now you're gonna be targeting people that are super similar to Mr. Desk Searcher across all of the social network in Facebook. So let me actually show you how you're gonna create these. So we're gonna go to custom audience. You're just gonna go to website traffic, and you go down here and you see visitors by time spent. Now look, if your pixel, like for example, this is a dummy pixel. If your pixel has no purchases, you're not gonna see any purchases. But if you keep scrolling down below here, you're gonna see purchasers, add to cart, and you're gonna make lookalikes off of that. Now, what I wanna show you is actually this. When you start scaling, you're gonna need to know which audiences you're testing, which ones you're kind of overlapping, which ones are killed, and you need to find the patterns. You need to find where the best audiences are and kind of understand why. So if you look right here, I have purchasers in the last 3 days, last 10 days, last 30 days, and last 180 days. And this is very important because when you create lookalikes off of different segments of your purchasers, those purchasers in the last 3 days and last 10 days are actually different. If we actually go into the audience overlap tool, you'll see that the purchasers, the 1% lookalike purchasers of the 10 days are like 50% different than the purchasers of the last 30 days or 180 days. And so when you say you test, oh, I tested all my purchaser lookalikes and they're just not converting, the chance is that you need to test a couple more different variations and just find the sweet spot. So then what I use this kind of whole thing for is a way for me to see patterns. So I'll go look through and I'll be like, okay, my 1%, 2%, 4%, ooh, these worked really well for the purchasers in last 10 days. So I'll have like all green in here. Now, if I see like a bunch of red, oh, last 3 days didn't work, red, and I'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna do purchaser lookalikes of last 3 days, and I'm not gonna do probably add to cart audience 3 days. It's too early for that. And so like I said, I'm looking for patterns. Hopefully it doesn't sound too confusing. Now this is just kind of a brief overview. So now what I wanna show you is kind of an over-the-shoulder look of what my campaigns look like and how to structure it from day one. All right, guys, so now let's go over literally how to structure your Facebook ad campaign from scratch and exactly what I'm doing. And so what I'm gonna show you is actually inside my live account. It's just a really good example because I literally started this 5 days ago, and it's the same structure I use over and over, and I just wanna kind of explain the system behind this. So if we look at all this, first things first, this strategy does work. It's about 4 p.m. I spent $1,000 and my return on ad spend is 3.36, which is really good. It's very profitable. And one thing though is that I wanna focus, so I'm actually just gonna highlight all of these. We're gonna filter by this, filter by selection. I'm gonna go over why I have all of these campaigns and what you should start off with day 1, day 2, and then day 3. Because around day 3, that's when I would start implementing CBO campaigns, but what's really important is how you start from day 1. So first things first is I wanna go over the most important campaigns you should have set up from day 1, and it's these two. So you have your top of funnel and then you have your retargeting. And so your top of funnel is gonna have all your lookalikes, all your interests, and then your retargeting is gonna be structured differently, which I'll go into in about like 5 minutes. So first let's go into this campaign. And so what you'll see is I have a bunch of ad sets here. The most important thing is your strategy on how you're going to launch your ad sets. So my strategy is you would want to launch at least 7, 10, if you want to be more aggressive, 20 ad sets. You'll launch those day 1 and you're gonna not touch it for 72 hours. However, this is gonna be a little bit tough if you don't have budget to spend, because I suggest each ad set you see needs a budget of at least 3 times the target cost per purchase. So if you are selling a product and your target cost per purchase is $10, like it is for me, then your daily budget should be around $30. I really don't like $10 day budgets or 5, like they're fine. I used to start with that, but now I'm leaning more towards kind of just starting with normal size budgets, especially when you have data. Now, a really common question is, how do I know how long to let an ad set run or kill it or scale it? There's a couple things. The first thing is you are going to look at this metric right here, the cost per unique add to cart. This is gonna be one of your best metrics to look at to see early signs of life within an ad set. So if let's just say 50% of people that click add to cart end up actually purchasing, then you'll know for every cost per unique add to cart of about $10, your cost per purchase will probably hover around 20. Now, what's really important, and the way you know whether or not to kill a bunch of ad sets or let them run, my personal strategy is that I first look at the entire campaign as a whole. I am actually a big believer in letting ad sets bleed. I like investing into certain ad sets, especially if I'm launching my lookalikes of 1%, 2% purchasers, add to cart. I don't wanna just throw away those audiences. However, I will throw them away if my campaign as a whole is simply not working. That means there's a deeper problem, and I'm actually gonna get into that when we go into the ads section of how to structure your ads. But if you see your campaign as a whole, like for example, right now, this is at a 3.5. I'm not gonna touch any ads. If I'm a little bit more aggressive, I'll look at it on a 3-day period if I'm being very aggressive. If I'm being a little bit lenient, then I'll actually look at it on a 5-day period. On the 5th day, if something seems a little bit shaky, like for example, purchase in the last 10 days, if I see that this one doesn't do well for 3 days, I'll put inside the actual ad set name, I'll put warning, double check. And so I'll give it one last day and I'll keep a close eye on it. And if it doesn't get a purchase on the 4th or 5th day, then I'll let it go. Now, the reason why I am a believer in investing into ad sets is because it does work out to the benefit. If it didn't, I wouldn't do it. So if you'll notice that some of your best ad sets, some of them, they take a little bit more investing, but once you kind of let it go and you let Facebook optimize, it does amazing and it stays consistent, but you have to be patient. But I only let that happen if my campaign as a whole is doing well. And that's why my campaigns do really well. I have high return on ad spend. It's because I'm not going to just trash a bunch of audiences and quickly run through them. It's a big mistake I see with a lot of people. Now, one of the biggest factors of whether or not your campaign is going to be profitable or not profitable at all is your ad, but also how many different ads you give Facebook to allow to optimize. And so Facebook loves variety and fresh content. So if you notice, I have 5 active ads in one ad set. And so all of these ads perform differently and gives Facebook a chance to optimize each one and see which one is going to make Facebook the happiest that day. And I've noticed this gives me enough cushion and enough buffer to pretty much avoid too much fluctuations with Facebook. Next thing I want to go over is actually a retargeting campaign. I'm now segmenting website visitors 7 to 14 days. I have add to cart, so everyone who added to cart in the last 7 to 14 days. Then I have another segment, everyone who viewed my page in the last 7 days, and then everyone who added to cart in the last 7 days. So I have recent visitors, and then I have visitors that are after the 7-day mark. And now I can go up to 21 days. I just haven't tested that yet. But I can see, like for example, my page view of the last 7 days isn't converting well at all, but my website visitors in the last 7 to 14 days is crushing it. It's doing very well. So I should actually up the budget on this one. And so this really allowed me to dissect what is the best and most profitable audiences. Now, what I'll actually end up doing is just cutting the budget on the ones that are not as profitable and just increasing the budget on the ones that are. Now, the next thing I want to show you guys is actually how to protect your ad account. So one of the most overlooked things is actually your landing page. If you notice that your ad account is getting banned, but your ads were never disapproved, it's most likely, or it's possibly, your landing page. Because what's happening right now is there's a lot of bots just crawling everything. Yes, the ads, but it's also the landing page that they will crawl and then they will immediately ban you. And so what I suggest is going through the policy and seeing very closely whether it's a photo, whether it's a really weird headline, something needs to be changed that's just not following the policy. Now, if you see that some of your ads are getting disapproved, then what you could do is actually use this strategy. So what I'm doing is pretty much running a dummy campaign right here. It's a PPE campaign. And all I'm doing, if we actually take a look, I put it at a daily budget of $1. I'm targeting India, the Philippines, and anyone that is over 36, that's a woman. And then I just exclude dropshipping and I put it on automatic placements. But in my ad, I'll choose a stock photo by Facebook and then I go search Google and I'm looking for just a fun, happy quote. I literally find like a popular fun quote and I put it over that stock photo and I click publish. Then I do that a couple more times and duplicate that to where I have 50 published ads that Facebook will be very happy with. The reason why that works is that you now have a bunch of active ads that are pretty much going to outweigh if you get 1 or 2 or 20 disapproved ads, you have 50 or 100 or 200 active ads in your campaign that are all approved, that are getting great engagement. So that's a way to kind of outweigh like an automatic Facebook ad account ban. If we look at today, these CBO campaigns have been doing really well. It's at a low budget, about $120 to $150 a day, but nonetheless, they've been doing very well. But you shouldn't really do a CBO campaign until you find a couple winning audiences. And typically what you want is anywhere from 4 to 5 ad sets minimum in a CBO campaign. And you can do a couple things. You can have a CBO campaign of just lookalikes, then you can make another one of your top interests. And then if you really want to scale heavy, which is the next thing I'm going to try to do, is a CBO campaign of extremely broad targeting. Now, I haven't really gotten that one to work yet. I'm going to try it again probably tomorrow or the next day, but that's pretty much the general overview of what you could do with a CBO campaign. Now, I know there's kind of a lot put into this video, and so I don't want to make it too overwhelming. But if you guys would like a more in-depth video on how to scale or CBO campaigns or what to do with your best ad sets, let me know in the comments. I'm just not sure if that's something you guys actually like. I feel like this is mostly Google, but I mean, Facebook is definitely really good for Q4. So just let me know. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.